The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
Well, this morning we are following breaking news out of the Southland of an earthquake that rattled many parts of LA and Ventura counties. The magnitude 4.2 earthquake was centered about 10 miles off the coast of Malibu. The quake happened about 2 a.m. Several small aftershocks have been reported, and many people reported waking up to a strong jolt. LA County fire officials say no one was hurt and there was no major damage reported. And here in Kern County, we technically felt the shock waves from this quake, although it only felt like a 1.5 magnitude earthquake.
This morning, California reeling from gun violence on an unthinkable scale. In a matter of days, 19 people have been killed and more than a dozen wounded. And the deadliest of the attacks unfolding in communities just outside San Francisco and Los Angeles. NBC's Jay Gray has the latest.
California reeling right now. Communities in the northern and southern parts of the state dealing with horrific mass shootings.
We're just in absolute shock and disbelief that this occurred, and our heart goes out to the victims and their families.
11 gunned down in Monterey Park while celebrating the Lunar New Year, one of the most significant holidays in the Asian community.
To enjoy, to be family, and then someone just come out of the blue and just destroy the whole thing.
In Half Moon Bay, just outside of San Francisco, 7 workers murdered on the job at 2 mushroom farms.
What a tragedy to see these innocent people lose their lives. And right now we just don't have the answers yet.
Investigators aren't sure of the motive in any of the shootings, but say none appear to be acts of terror or hate crimes. The attacks in Monterey Park and Half Moon Bay aren't connected, but do have very unique similarities. Both suspects, elderly Asian Americans armed with semi-automatic handguns. Police say the killing sprees were likely fueled by a grudge or personal vendetta, with a vast majority of the victims members of the Asian American community. And they share one more horrible similarity. Survivors in each community now struggling with the pain of overwhelming loss. Right now, police, with help from federal agents, continue to gather evidence, trying to piece together a motive in the attacks. Jay Gray, NBC News, Monterey Park, California.
And Governor Gavin Newsom is blasting those who oppose gun control following the deadly mass shootings here in California. He singled out Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy for not speaking out after the shootings in Monterey Park and Half Moon Bay. Newsom says the common denominator in the mass shootings across the U.S. is what he referred to as these damn guns.
But the one common denominator are these damn guns. I got no ideological opposition to someone owning a gun responsibly. But what the hell is wrong with us that we allow these weapons of war and large capacity clips out on the streets and sidewalks? Why have we allowed this culture, this pattern to continue? I'm still waiting for Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the House of Representatives, who purports to represent the people of the state of California, a proud and remarkable district in Kern County. We haven't heard one damn word from him. Not since Monterey Park, not what happened here, not one word, not one expression of prayers even, condolences, nothing. And it surprised nobody. Where's he been on gun safety reform? Where's the Republican Party been on gun safety reform? They blocked it every step of the way. One state can't do it alone. Shame on them. And shame on those that allow and perpetuate that to be rewarded politically.
We reached out to McCarthy's office for comment. A spokesperson there says McCarthy ordered flags at the U.S. Capitol to be flown at half-staff to honor the victims. And while addressing the media, McCarthy did offer his condolences to the families impacted by the shootings, but his office did not confirm whether he reached out directly to Governor Newsom. We continue to talk about that mass shooting out of Monterey Park where 11 people were killed. One of the shooting victims was a longtime resident of Bakersfield. 17's Marco Torres has more.
Her name was Diana Tom. According to an elder in the Bakersfield Chinese community, Diana Tom was known throughout the Central Valley for her personality, her kindness, and her charm.
Diana Tom lived in Bakersfield for more than 25 years. When the news spread of her death, it shook the Central Valley Chinese community.
Everybody went into shock, and this is something unbelievable. I knew her for 40 years. We have been friends for 40 years. We danced together, we sang together.
This is Patrick Leung, and he's considered a pillar and rock of the Chinese community in Bakersfield. He's the chairman of the Confucius Church of Bakersfield and an elder of the Ying-On Association. He was Diana Tom's close friend, and when he heard about the shooting at the dance studio, he got very worried about her.
Since I knew that she goes to the dance studio quite often, so I tried to text her, I tried to call her, I tried to send messages to her in different situations. There was no answer. So I knew that, oh my God, something must have happened. The son called us back, the next day, and said she was shot. And she was in the hospital, and she was in critical condition. So we pray and pray that hopefully she will recover. But then a few hours later, the son called us and said, oh, I'm sorry, she passed away.
Leung says Diana Tom was the final victim, but she didn't die at the dance studio. She was alive after being shot, and with the last bit of her energy, she made one last phone call.
She was the 11th victim. She was actually, at that time, she was actually alive. And after she was shot, she was actually alert enough to call the son and tell the son, I was shot.
For people across the Central Valley, you've probably seen the product of her life's work multiple times, if not many times a year.
She actually was one of the regional managers for the Panda Express. She actually set up the Panda Express restaurants here in Bakersfield, in the Central Valley, all the way to Fresno and all the other areas. She's the regional manager before she moved to Los Angeles, before she retired from that. Okay.
Diana Tom was 70 years old. Leung says he remembers spending many fun hours singing, dancing, and laughing along while watching her be silly, enjoying her life.
She's a very outgoing person. She loves to sing, she loves to dance, and she's outgoing. She always invited her friends to come over to go to her home and sing karaoke together. So we did those. And she's a good cook. Since she managed the restaurant, she knows how to cook, and she will entertain us with all the food.
Marco Torres reporting. Patrick Leung and his family have been to the Star Dance Hall in Monterey Park many times. Leung says his son teaches kung fu to the children at that studio. Leung says he was friends with 72-year-old Ming Ma, the general manager of the dance studio, who was killed in the shooting. Leung says Ma was a really nice person and would always greet him with a smile and ask how he and his family were doing.
Anti-Asian hate crimes have instilled fear in Asian Pacific Islander communities across the country and here in Bakersfield.
Asian hate crime is increased quite a bit during the COVID situation, and the whole Chinese community is quite worried, especially when this happened. The first reaction for all of us is that, oh my God, is this one of the anti-Asian hate crimes? So everybody on the edge.
Patrick Leung says the Chinese community in Bakersfield is very close-knit and supportive. He says it's important to point out that even though the shooter in Monterey Park was Asian, the scars, trauma, and fear from all of the other anti-Asian hate crimes are still fresh, and this shooting only amplifies the community's anxiety.
Yes, this is a Chinese, person that did this problem, but it does not release the situation of the anxiety of the community. The worry about, the anxiety about the anti-Asian hate crime is still quite, a bit in the Asian community.
Anyone who needs help with mental health resources is encouraged to reach out to the Bakersfield Chinese Women's Club. You can find more information and resources at kget.com. On the Justice Department, California, and other states are suing Google. The lawsuit says the online search giant has too much power in the online ad market. It's calling for Google to be broken up and to spin off parts of the company. Google issued a statement saying the lawsuit attempts to pick winners and losers in the highly competitive advertising technology sector.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is cooperating this morning after classified documents were found at his Indiana home. An attorney for Pence says the papers were discovered last week, then put in a safe before being turned over to the FBI. About a dozen documents were found. The attorney says they were inadvertently boxed and taken to Pence's home at the end of the vice president's term. Classified files, as you know, have also been found at the homes of President Biden and former President Trump.
This morning, we have new details about a story we brought you earlier this week. In Iowa, a young man police say shot and killed 2 teenagers at a local alternative education program was in court yesterday. Preston Wallace is 18 and he's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, along with a count of attempted murder and a count of criminal gang participation. Authorities say that he was involved in an ongoing gang dispute when he walked into one of the education program's common areas and pulled the trigger earlier this week. Investigators believe the attack was premeditated. He's being held on $2.5 million bail. The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.